It's the week after the Chinese Grand Prix where Oscar Piastri won his third Grand Prix. Liam Lawson got the boot from Red Bull after another Sergio Perez-like performance. And thanks to Ferrari not having sufficient wood, Esteban Goatcon now leads the Drivers' Championship for all Ferrari-powered cars. It is episode 169 of the Eden Asphalt Podcast. Well, brother, condolences are in order after a weekend to forget for the Scarlet Ferraris.
Yeah, congratulations on her for you for like probably almost a perfect weekend for the Orange Papaya.
Yeah, I mean, could have won a couple more points in the sprint, I guess.
Yeah, dang.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sure. I bet they're around the drawing table, being like, "What the fuck was that about? We didn't win that one too. We didn't go
Are you
perfect."
counting Lewis Hamilton's first win in a Ferrari as a sprint race?
No, but cool,
Okay,
but very
yeah,
cool. You know, I say
yeah,
very cool. I mean, he did it pretty convincingly too.
he did. Yeah.
So I feel like it should be more than 8 points in that respect. Who am I, right?
Ferrari multiplier, 8 times 2 is 16 points for Lewis Hamilton.
I mean, dude, we got it. I feel like kick someone while they're down. They should have been like, you know what? We're going to extend it this weekend.
Retroactively on Monday, they're
Yeah.
like, hey, bad weekend for Ferrari. Lewis, triple points.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, this episode we have our Hot Lab recap done by Marco, our fastest thoughts presented by TikTok. I think I want to call these TikTok takes. What do we think about
Oh, that's
that?
great.
All right, nice.
One.
TikTok takes, winners and losers, and our gambling predictions recap. Let's get right into it.
All right. Our Hat Lap recap, as Ian and I alluded to, this was a sprint weekend. So, going to start off with a sprint, our calls, and then followed by our Sunday race. So, the sprint on Friday,
Yep.
kind of hard, time change. Lewis was fantastic, managed the tires spectacularly. I think there was, halfway through, Max started making a lunge, Piastri started making a lunge, and then he just was the best one managing these tires for a, nonstop type of race. Nice start to the weekend and the season for a mere 1 point last week at Ferrari for Lewis. Yet, unfortunately, his only points this weekend. Lando struggled, which gave the rest of the teams some hope, but we will also see that was false hope for the rest of the weekend. A theme that we'll see this weekend from Liam, bad. Started sprint P19, finished P14, P20 in quals, finished P12, and you might be like, oh, P20 to P12, not too bad. 4 drivers either retired or disqualified post race. So it's going to be more like a P20 to P16 in much worse cars around him. We move on to Saturday. George has been absolutely killing it both Saturday and Sunday. Finished P2 this weekend, finished P4 last weekend in quals, and then found the podium both weeks too. The only other driver that can say the same to that so far in 2 weeks, a long 2 weeks, is Lando. So pretty good company. Ajar finished P7 ahead of Kimi and his teammate Yuki. So I think that was something that he had a pretty tough last week in Australia. Had a pretty nice Saturday there. So like something to look forward to, something to not cry about. Am I right? Sunday, our Sunday race. I think in general, not the most entertaining race. McLaren didn't have much trouble for basically the last half of the race. Lando figured out his starts going into this year, passing George off the start. Piastri also had a great start, keeping the lead. But Ferraris were able to pass Max off the start too. So kind of like McLaren, Ferrari, Eden Asphalt boys, good start. Alonso was out in lap 14. Pretty tough season for him to start behind driver number 1, Aston Martin, Lance Stroll. Lance is currently above both Ferraris as well in the Drivers' Championship. Tough. Pretty surprising. I would say like, what was it? A quarter into the race, seeing Albon and Williams leading, obviously false narrative because he did not stop while everyone else did. But I was just like, that was a good 3 or 4 laps where I was like, this seems wild to see that W up there. We got a a couple of pretty good chows by Ollie Behrman passing Liam Lawson, which was very cool. Did it with Carlos Sainz a few laps later. He had a lot of passing. I think he probably had tied the rest of the field combined in passing. I think he had 4 within like 10 laps. So pretty good weekend for him. Great weekend for Haas. Double points for them. They are also comparing to Ferrari, some troubling times that I will talk about later. The last thing I wanted to talk about for the race was post-race. Obviously, the Ferrari boys got in trouble. Pierre Gasly got in trouble. Wait for 2 of the 3. Did Max purposely drive into dirt at the end of the race to pick up some additional weight? I don't know if you saw that video, but very clearly going into, just their final lap post-race, goes in the dirt for a few seconds, picks up quite a bit of dirt on his tires. Was that on purpose? Clearly, you don't do that by mistake. There's got to be a reason. If we had 2 of the 10% of the cars have underweight, maybe that would have been a problem going into this race as well for other cars.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I would not put it past Max to be able to feel in his heart and in his soul and body, just be like, car's underweight. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Pick up rubber, pick up some mud. Yeah, I don't put that past him at all.
That guy is on as far the spectrum for cars as anyone in the world, He could feel that for sure. I don't know why. I mean, I feel like that is the most like universe brain move that you could do. And I think other drivers may be picking that up down the road if they know that this is going to be like, hey, this is a type of race that we're going to be really pushing it to the limit on how light the car is. Do everything you can prior to getting weighed to make sure that happens.
Yeah. Well, more power to him. If it's legal, I don't know if it is, but if it's legal, good job.
What do you say? Like, stop driving off the road. It's like, oh, I mean, you can tell a lot of these rookies not to do that too, but they keep doing it.
Or is that? Sorry, I pulled my phone out. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, sorry. The water filled up it was all over my pants. What is that? Oh, it's the water. Well, then it does it for my hot lap recap for China.
Good job. Let's move on to our TikTok takes. All right, I got a quick one for TikTok takes, social media friendly. We are not click farming, by the way. We are not clip farming or click farming. But anyway, we are recording on Tuesday. Tuesday, it was announced that Yuki Tsunoda will be swapping with Liam Lawson for that Red Bull seat. In my view, Yuki has earned this spot, right? But as a self-proclaimed Red Bull hater, I was daydreaming of some of the funniest possible outcomes that could happen in the upcoming Japanese Grand Prix here. I've settled upon this list. I want your feedback on it. Yuki Tsunoda DNF. Easy, right? I want Yuki to be safe and unharmed, but cause absolutely catastrophic damage to that Red Bull car in free practice and just be out for the rest of the weekend. I think that would be a good, like, again, Christian and Helmut being like, now what, right? Now what do we do? Yuki's car having an extremely rare Red Bull reliability failure on lap 1 would make me feel alive. I've, all this like build up for Yuki to get ready and be in that Red Bull seat, and all of a sudden, it gets the Isaac Hadjar treatment. Yuki comes down with appendicitis a la Carlos Sainz, or no, he probably food poisoning. I want Yuki taking out his anger on Liam Lawson by wrecking his car after a side-by-side race between the two of them. I think that would really fill my cup.
Yeah.
Yuki crashes into both Red Bull Racing. Sorry, got that. Yuki crashes into both Racing Bulls cars, a la Valtteri Bottas, Hungary 2021. Took out both Red Bulls. Remember that? I would love to see that. And then Yuki Tsunoda, I think my preferred, if I could pick how it goes, Yuki Tsunoda P20, but by a bigger margin than Liam Lawson. And he gets, half of free practice of the following race to turn it around. I think that's that, like, almost in order, like from least to greatest. That's what I want.
Okay. There are 2 that stuck out to me, and I just want to put like a little caveat in both of those. The Yuki appendicitis, great. The replacement driver has to be Liam again.
Yeah.
So he has to be like, oh, I'm back. So I think that has to happen. It has to be like the day before, and then he's just so mentally confused at what is going on. I think that would be great. And your last one, I agree. He finished because like the other ones, you could kind of be like, oh, it's not his fault. Car reliability, like runs into something. It's like it's not his true race form. Full race looks absolutely like shit. And on the other hand, Liam Lawson podium in the Racing Bull. That's where it's like, oh my God, like what do we do now? Like Liam looks like the entire from Friday, Saturday, Sunday is like in the top 6, consistently battling and looks fantastic. And then Yuki is struggling, like out in Q1, doesn't make any point, loses a couple spots and on the race Sunday. I think that would be absolutely hysterical for the Red Bull team.
I like that. I like that a lot. With the appendicitis and Liam, let's say Yuki appendicitis or food poisoning, Liam has to replace the Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the V carb, they're like, all right, our replacement is going to be Yuki with food poisoning.
Yeah. So we're kind of out of options here.
We don't have anybody else. All right. Anyway, there's TikTok takes. Let's move on from TikTok takes to our winners and losers.
All right, winners and losers. My winners are going to be McLaren. Get used to it. This is the Red Bull that we've seen the last couple of years. No other needed commentary. I'm going to actually change mine up a little bit. I'm going to move a winner to a loser. We'll get to that. A winner, though, this is before the news came out. And this is actually, I can make a spin post news that Yuki's replacing Danny Ricciardo, because I think he is in the ultimate sweet spot where people will always suggest for him to come in. I saw 3 articles today prior to the news officially making it, being like, hey, rumors are Yuki's going to replace him. Obviously, like Colapinto is going to, like Liam's fully out of Formula One within 2 weeks of taking over the Red Bull seat. But I saw 3 articles that said, bring back Danny and have him the number 2 for Red Bull. He's shown that he did pretty well in Red Bull, unlike anyone else that has come through. If I'm him, I am never for the history of I'm alive considering coming back, because you're talked about like you're the fix, you're a legend, you're a folklore. Even though the past, 4 or 5 years, speak differently, his performance was terrible. And everyone seems to ignore that. I don't know why. They're like, oh, he's just a worse driver because he was in different cars. But if he goes back in the Red Bull, everything changes. I just don't see that happening. He's also 35 or so. So I think it's a winner that any time that there is Red Bull drama in the second seat, Danny gets in the name, brings his name back, and just says, like, Danny's the man, bring him back. And so I think this fiasco was a win for Danny.
There are F1 journalists who owe at least 8% of their yearly salary to Danny Ricciardo for being able to pull his name out of a hat anytime and get the amount of clicks that they get. Like, they put out "Is Danny coming back?" is the title. And then really the article could just say, probably not.
Yeah.
People would click. I would click on it.
Oh yeah, just like, I clicked on 3 of them and I was like, where am I seeing this? And it was just them, like, again, nothing to go off of, being like, oh, Helmut Marko was whispering, Horner was talking about something. No, it's just been like, I think this is like a strategic decision that they should do. Like, by my own brains. No, that's terrible. So yeah, good for him. I love seeing him in the news. It just seems crazy that people are like, this guy is the answer. But yeah, I digress. My other winner is going to be Williams, currently P4 in the P4 spot of the driver's standings, and also Haas, only 3 points behind them in P6. Obviously, Williams and Ferrari are tied, and Williams has a tiebreaker, so good for them. If I'm both of them, I'm saying cancel the season today, because I don't think either of them expect to go anywhere but probably maybe down. So good for them. 2 races in. Who would have thought that you'd see Williams P4 in the driver's standings?
Yeah, those are the 2 teams that want COVID to come back so bad right now. Be like, oh, we got to wrap it up.
This seems dangerous going on. A lot of war in Ukraine's coming back up, apparently. That's what I've been told. That does it for my winners.
All right. I do have one. Ferrari merchandise sales is a winner for me. More than half, 80% of the Chinese fans were in Ferrari. It didn't register that Guan Yu Zhou is the reserve driver for me. So I was just like, okay, cool. I guess like, they're trendy.
Find me paint the dots for me here.
But and then also just nostalgia. It was nice to see Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen on the front row of a race, even though it was a sprint race. I was like, oh man, take me back to times.
They're just getting old men now, dude. It's different.
I know, dude.
Young bucks
Be racing in the nursery home.
Yep. All right, moving on to losers. My loser, again, started this and did this prior to the news, but I'm going to take a spin. Will we see, let's say, in 1 month from now, is Liam Lawson in a Formula One seat?
I'm going to say, yeah, dude. He's the Johnny Manziel of, oh man, this is my Colin Cowherd take. Liam Lawson is the Johnny Manziel of Formula One, right? He's like good at the college team of Visa Cash App Red Bull. Like that's where his spot should be. Goes into the big leagues, doesn't work out with him too well. Everybody loves him, but he belongs in that V carb.
Dude, does everyone love him? I feel like he is just being slandered. I
I
thought so too. And then I was like, dude, I mean, it's been people were calling for his head before China. Like, this is not acceptable. I was like, dude, give that guy a break.
I
And
guess
then after China, like, get out.
yeah, maybe I'm just tainted. Like I have anchor bias of just like liking him, but man, like maybe you're right. Maybe everyone turned on him. That
It
would
was
happen.
a quick turn because I mean I thought people were pretty jazzed up about the young guy. I don't know. My other loser, obviously, probably get used to it like McLaren the winners. Ferrari really digging themselves a little bit of a hole to start the season off. My question, not specifically to Ferrari, but since they have the most resources, the most like by far the most people working for the team, is there not like a specific person you can blame for the car being too light? Like, should there be like a director of car weight? I get Lewis's DQ, unfortunate. Like, I feel like that just shit happens. But I mean, I feel like that's not something you can prepare for. The other thing, I feel like there's like math you could do to can guarantee you are above weight.
I really like catch me applying on LinkedIn to Ferrari's position of director of car weight operations,
Yeah,
director of car wood operations.
just be like, okay, you're going to drive this many kilometers. That's how low your tank's going to be. Tire wear is going to drop down X amount. I don't know. Like, you're going to lose a couple chips off your car. Boom. And then, like, worst case scenario, this is where you at. Let's get above that worst case scenario. I don't know.
What are you
I
gonna do?
don't know. Maybe do they? I'm guessing the way the cars post driver being in there.
Yeah, it's gotta be
Okay. Well,
a route.
even another idea before drivers get out, pee and poop in the car. Way down a little bit.
A zipper at the back of the suit.
Yeah. Like those old school like people in the cold,
Yeah.
the little buttons in the back of the butt. Have one of those. Take a big old dump in there. It's got to be a pound and a half if it's big enough. A lot of pee.
This is why people come listen to this podcast.
Coming in to hear F1 analysis and talk about best way to make sure your car is above weight is to poo and pee in the car. All right, that does it for my winners and losers.
I have just a bonus Fernando Alonso. He has two
Yeah.
DNFs to start the season. So judging by this season's results so far, if you were to draw a line, he's projecting 24 DNFs this season. I think
A record, some say.
yeah, good for him. But yeah, this is Tom Brady-esque toward the end. I mean, not like his last season, not the last season before that, but it's just like, hey man, hang it up. You don't deserve the feelings that you probably have right
Yeah.
now. But
Completely random. Actually, I just remember this thinking of Fernando Alonso. The story where it's like, if you give Fernando Alonso 8 points, he wins an extra 3 or 4 driver championship.
oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
saw something similar with Lewis. 4 different races change. Only 2 of them have to be wins that change from like not a win to a win. The other 2, it was like car troubles, didn't finish the race for 2 of them. He wins 4 additional championships. 4 races, 4 championships. Goes from 7 to 11. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, that does it for winners and losers. Let's move on to our gambling predictions recap. But before we get there, this part of the podcast is brought to you by the Doge and the man, the myth, the spectrum, Elon Musk. I'm obligated to say that this is not a paid sponsorship by the Doge team. They do not spend money, only eradicate it. Doge has been going SEAL Team 6 on government spending, showing up in the middle of the night, blowing up fake budgets without a hitch. Now, they see this opportunity to take it commercially, with F1 being their first contract. This is perfect timing as budget caps for teams continue to drop and Doge can come in and figure out how best these teams can save a few bucks. Elon used Grok 3.0 to synthesize a few major action items for the teams to focus on going into the 2025 season after the second race. Red Bull, having Horner stop getting so handsy with coworkers would save them a ton on legal fees. Also, Lunchables for the whole crew. for them to cut down on their lavish catering expenses. McLaren, rather than saving money, there are a few square inches remaining in their livery to fit another sponsor or two, which could move that from like 89 sponsors to 95. So that's like money generating rather than money saving. Aston Martin stopped paying a kid millions of dollars who doesn't know how to drive alongside Fernando Alonso. Mercedes, honestly, no advice. They avoided spending $100 million on a driver this offseason and seem to be doing pretty well off of that. And then Ferrari, like, close your eyes, take a dart, throw it somewhere. You're going to find over excessive spending that is not efficient or effective. So that one sucks. Each team has until 10 p.m. tomorrow to email back their agreement to these changes, or you will be faced to switch cars with the Sauber team for the rest of the year.
I'm going to say it. Alpine would probably switch with Sauber. I think they would probably not put that in. I think that they're going to wait past that.
Like, we're not going to do that.
Like, Alpine's P10, Sauber, they're looking at Sauber at P8 and be like,
whoa, that's pretty nice over there. One Hulk finish will, completely change that, but that's basically where the weight is.
All right, good stuff. Let's move on to our gambling predictions recap to wrap up the episode. All right, so I think my all right, here's what I need to happen.
Yeah.
I gotta rethink the strategy.
Okay.
Here.
All right.
Because Kimi Antonelli, top 6, hitter, winner, first of the season. I win.
Also, you should thank Ferrari for that, because he doesn't get that if there's 2 of them that don't get disqualified.
Right, but Kimi Antonelli, top 6,
done.
Winner. Lando Norris, winner, did not hit. Liam Lawson, top 10. What was I thinking? Minus 125. Unbelievable. So yeah, record right now is 1-4. Sounds like a losing record on paper in terms of units, but again, we're rethinking the strategy. Everything's going to change from here on out, and we turn it around early enough in the season to where we end up very positive. Down 2.09 units. Not even that many units.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right, mine slightly better, actually, slightly improved. I had Albon beating Carlos Sainz, 1 unit plus 105. Kimi did not beat George for half a unit there. So I'm 1-2 on the year now, and minus 1.45 units. So I went from minus 2 units, moving up a little over half a unit this weekend. So only can go up from there. This is how I'm thinking for both of us.
Okay.
Our tough start.
Yeah.
You know how, long jumpers, pole jumpers, whatever, before they go, they back up a little bit to get a head start, a running start. We're just doing that.
You're like slingshot.
Yes. So we're backing up a little bit, and we're about to start running really fast.
All right. And we run fast in Japan, which is where we're going to preview for our next.
Dude, this is easy. First of all, got to wait for betting lines to come out. I have some good ones already ready to roll. They're going to be probably pretty plus money.
Ruining the noggin.
Quite a few underdogs going on this one.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will preview that next week. We appreciate everybody for listening. We'll see you for the Japanese Grand Preview before then.
See you, assholes.
See you, assholes.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.